Good day everyone, I am Crizel Cisalisi, the first reporter of Jewelry Making Lesson 10. And today, our group, we will discuss the history of jewelry making in the Philippines and identify the different jewelry categories and also discuss the materials and process used in jewelry making. Jewelry making is one of the easiest way to fancy up your attire is accessorizing with jewelry. Wearing jewelry is a way to add aesthetic value to your ensemble. While jewelry has always added visual appeal, historically, it carried more weight than mere aesthetics. Jewelry helped establish your social rank, marital status, as still seen today, and membership within a tribe. Symbols of God's love, rosary beads also hung around people's wrists, the Catholic interpretation of a practice present in other faiths such as Islam and Buddhism. As the church gained power during the 300 years colonization, these religious symbols became more than just way to connect with the faith. They become sign not just of devotion but of the power that came with it. Despite the supposed austerity promoted by the church, those in power were gilding themselves in gold and jewels. In the mid of 18th century, crucifixes and scapulars became widely popular. Intricate tambourine jewelry and reliquary pendants became fashionable in and out of the church. The story of jewelry making is a fascinating journey that reflects the evolution of human culture, technology, and aesthetics. Jewelry has always been more than decoration. It's a cultural artifact that tells stories of identity, power, spirituality, and art. From ancient talismans to contemporary wearable art, jewelry making continues to evolve alongside human civilization. And also, jewelry is a symbol of God's love because the rosary beads also hung around people's wrist. Ang nakasanayan sa mga Katoliko and sa uban nga nagrepresent sa ilang pagtuo sa God, which is ang Islam and Buddhism. In the Philippines jewelry industry, jewelry is typically categorized based on materials used, target market, design styles, and purpose. If we say fine jewelry is a material used is precious metals like gold, usually 14K, 18K, and 21K. The platinum and high quality gemstones, diamonds, rubies, emeralds, and sapphire. If we say naman semi-fine or semi-precious jewelry, the materials is gold-plated silver, sterling, silver, and semi-precious stones. And we say costume and fashion jewelry, the materials is non-precious metals, plastic, resin, glass, beads, synthetic stones. And that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Marjorie Salardi, the next reporter of Jewelry Making. The Philippine Golden Age release of our pre-colonial past. Imagine an abundance of gold, where everyone from the noble upper class to the warriors to the common people to the slaves of all covered in gold ornaments, being passed down from generation to generation, of being buried with your gold possessions to take with you to the afterlife. The word Golden Age in pre-colonial past refers to starving civilizations. Kumuingon tag starving civilizations is a society that is not only developing and flourishing but also experiencing positive growth and success in various aspects of its existence. So sa una, before naabot ang Espanyol during 16th century, is tanang tao nga naginto is naghatag sa mga tao o kagwapa. So either unsa ang ilang kahimtang like mandirigma ba, alipin, or kanang normal lang nga mga tao. So sa una, kung mamatay ang isa nga tao, ang tanan niyang mga importanteng mga gamit is ubanon jud paglubok para dalon daw niya sa sunod nga kalibutan. Pag-abot sa una sa Spaniard diri sa Pilipinas, from Magellan to Legazpi, nakuratan sila sa kadaghan sa mga ginto nga ginasuot sa mga tao. Ang mga tao diri sa Pilipinas sa una is ang ilang adlaw-adlaw nga ginasuot or ang sa pagsuot is katong mga ginto. Ang lalaki nga mosuot og gold string is known as bahag and other local terms. So para sa mga Kastila sa una, ang gold is nag-represent as dato. So kung unsa man ang imong kasarian, mababae ka man o malalaki, as long as na kay gold, you are dato. Isa sa records of most abundance and distribution of gold are the Ilustrados of pre-colonial Filipinos in the Boxer Codex, which is only known as manuscript from the Philippines to use gold leaf. So, isa jud sa pinakanahisgutan sa mga Espanyol is ang gold. Kay naaman siya sa sig-asa sa Pilipinas. That's all. Thank you.
Pre-colonial gold earrings. What is pre-colonial? Pre-colonial gold earrings, Francisco Collen, 1663. All females and in some location males adorn their ears with huge gold rings called circlets, which they pierced at a young age for this purpose. So, good day everyone. My name is Vince G. Talaugon, and my topic for today is all about pre-colonial gold earrings. So, first and foremost, what is pre-colonial? Pre-colonial means the time in the history of the Philippines before it was colonized by Spain or katong time nga wala pa nasakop atong bansa. So, my topic talks about how the earliest people has interesting custom regarding gold earrings. So, one of the writer from 1663, Francisco Collen, described an interesting custom in the pre-colonial Philippines regarding gold earrings. He noted that all women and in some places men too would decorate their ears with large gold rings called circlets. So according to Francisco Collen, in their custom, tanang babae and in some places pod nga mga lalaki is ang ilahang mga ears is ginatawdan nila og huge gold rings or circlets. At a young age pa lang ginabangagan or ginabot nga nag-hole ilang ears para dako nila naanay mataudan sa circlets. And also they believe nga pag ang ears sa babae is mas stretch and open, the more beautiful they became. Some had 2 holes on each ear. Ang isa ka hole mostly mas dako compare sa isa for 2 different types of earrings. While Francisco Collen focuses on beauty, wearing substantial gold jewelry like this likely also indicated a social standing sa isa ka tao and kung unsa siya dato within their community. More elaborate or mas larger pa jud nga earrings could signify a higher status. In essence, pre-colonial gold earrings were more than just decorations. Nasab sa significant part sa personal development, reflecting the values, beauty standards, and possibly ang social standing sa tao nga nagsuot sa gold earrings. Francisco Collen's writing gives us a glimpse into the aspect of the Philippines' rich history before the European colonization. So that's the end of my topic. Thank you for listening.
Good day, ma'am. Good day, everyone. I'm Delisa Cipizon, and I'm from Group 10, and my topic is panika or panikaan. Panika earrings or barter rings were famous in pre-colonial Philippines as a form of currency and valuable jewelry. Sa una, pre-colonial, famous jud ang panika sa babae man or sa lalaki. Kunwari, kani, which is earrings ning ani siya, more siya kaan gold, pero bracelet lang ni, ang kaan lang, panika kay kaan. Earrings, diri siya ibutang. Dako ra pud kayo ni. Example ra ni. Diri siya ibutang. Ang uban ka sa babae, upat ang ilahang mga hole diri Ang sa lalaki, duha or tulo ilaha ginabutan nila diri ilahang earrings. Sikat man siya sa una. Kung sa kuan pa trending. Mao famous ang panika sa una kay ang nagagamit man gud sa uban didto sa pre-colonial sa una kay mga higher status, naga-depend man gud sa wealth or sa status sa nga naggamit sa una kay ang panika man gud kay made by gold. So ang uban dili sila ka-afford Mao pag naiengot so kwartahan ka or nakipanik ka. They were large, ring-shaped gold ingots used for trade within and beyond the island. Additionally, they were part of broader system of jewelry and ornaments were for pre-Hispanic women, symbolic wealth and status. Both men and women wore earrings and earplugs. They had their earpurs, men with 1 or 2 holes per lobe, while women with 3 to 4 lobes. Panica was general term for rings and plugs worn in the lower hole, called panikaan. Sa lalaki daw sa una kay naa daw 1 or 2 lobes diri kanang buslot agyanan sa earrings diri nilibutang duha. Tapos ang sa babae po daw sa una 3 or 4. So diri nala diri ibutang ang kuan padaghanay. Ang panika kay made siya by hammering a thin sheet of gold over a wax resin mold, and it must be at least 18-karat gold to be soft enough to work. Some of the rings were hollow and others are solid gold heavy enough to fall carlobed down until the ring actually touched the shoulder. In the Anitaw Boreal Cave in Likak, Cotabato, among the ceramic heads found was one at the holes through elongated earlobes for the rings.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rhea Mirafaila. So this is my report. The large gold plugs worn were known as pamarang or barat. Dalin-dalin were simple loops, and palbat were the rosettes worn by women in the uppermost hole. Dinalopang, if it was shaped like a yellow dalopang blossom. Kayong-kayo was any pendant dangling from an sherang, and sang was a single ring worn in one ear only. So, the meaning of ang plugs daw is known pamarang or barat. Kanang mga ayos sa atong mga ninuno or kanang mga karaang tao, tas ang dalin-dalin kay mga simple loops and palbat kay mga rosette na ginasuot sa mga babae sa taas. Tapos ay kanang sa bangag sa atuang dugan. So kini kay color gold nga bulak ng dalupang, tas ang kayong-kayong kay mga palawit or kanang nakalawit sa hikaw kanang pataas, tapos kanang ayos nga kanang mura siyang nice style, tapos tas naasad sing nga ginasuot sa isa ka dalunggan lang daw. So that's the end of my report.
Hello everyone, my name is Roy Salapane. My topic is bilang gyapon siya sa pre-colonial gold earrings. So, in Samar and Leyte, where are ornaments called uod or caterpillar-shaped ornaments that were slit in the back so that they wrap around the extended earlobe. This ear ornament can be seen on female figures, carved stones in Indian templates. So, ang kini nga ikaw kay gitawag ni siya og uod. Nana siya kakaibang disenyo or hugis like uod. Nani siya hiwa sa likod na makakabit or naka-extend na sa tenga. Og ang disenyo ay mura po ni siya nakawig sa hikaw or inukit sa figura or sa mga templong Indian na nagmumungkahi ng like connection sa pagitan sa duha ka kultura. Ito ay isang mahalaga rin sa ebidensya o ugnayan ng kultura at kalakalan noon.
Okay, let's continue the discussion. Number 2, necklace and bracelet. Just like we earrings, our ancestors also love wearing gold jewelry like necklace, bracelets, armlets, rings, necklace, and gold chains. Let me describe each kind of the jewelry they wore. Necklaces were worn around the neck These were often thick, shiny, and made of pure gold. Bracelets were worn on the wrist, and sometimes both wrists would have a machine once. Armlets were worn on the upper arm like a band around the base. Rings were worn on the fingers just like today, and they were also made of gold. Ankles were worn on the ankles. They were less common but still part of the traditional jewelry. We can Charlies see how much they love gold through the drawings in the bazaar, codex, books that show picture of how our ancient store look. These pictures show people wearing a lot of gold jewelry. What's more interesting is that these pictures match the real gold items that have been found by archaeologists today. So we know that it's not just art, it's real history.
Ang mga kwintas ay nilikha sa anyo ng mga stud, chokers at collars na mula sa mga mamahaling bato hanggang sa gintong kwintas. Kasama sa mga gintong butil na ito ang apat na panig na matambukaw, ang mahabang guwang na tinaklom at ang magarbong pinyals na may mga butil na idinagdag sa kanilang ibabaw at tulad ng maliliit na isla ng ginto o bungan buyo na parang bitil nuts.
Good day everyone, so my name is Elijah James Bios and my report for this video is all about Kasikas Jewelry. I am the next reporter. So golden bands were worn around the bicep and above calves. So kining jewelry kanang makita niyo diha sa ubos kanang naa sa picture. So mao na siya nga jewelry nga pwede siya ibutang sa bicep sa imong bukton or around sa imong bagtak sa calves. So these were called kasikas. Women tended to wear many bracelets on their arms for beauty as way to attract attention through the jangling sound of the bracelet as they move. So while using this jewelry kay saba jud kay ni siya kay gold man siya, so kanang mga tusok-tusok kanang mga tumoy-tumoy, while using that is it can make sounds samot na sila yung mga culture dance, tribe dance is as they move is magsaba-saba gina siya. So kini siya nga jewelry is that it is more to attract men kung mo niya suot sa mga babae sa una nga na mga aesthetic para sa ila mo nilang passion to how look beautiful they are. And necklace with braids shaped like ogre shells in northeastern Mindanao. So kini siya nga necklace is that gina-describe ni siya nga mura siya shells nga suso. Kanang ahit nga suso ha. Kanang makita nimo diya sa bracelet kanang tusok-tusok. Ingana siya nga forma nga ogre shells suso. So mo na siya nga forma. Dili tong suso nga lingin nga suso ha, katong lingin-lingin. Katong ahit nga suso naman na nga nga suso. So in the 10th century, around 13th century, in the Ayala Museum, nana siya dito sa Metro Manila, which is sa Makati Avenue. Diya sa Metro Manila dapit. So diyan niyo makita ang Ayala Museum. So as you go there, you can see how beautiful this jewelry. So makita niyo siya personally sa Ayala Museum. So
In continuation of this topic, makadululu, a term for when they would point up the sun, and if bracelet slide down the arm, it was makadululu, a specific hour of that day as a form of timekeeping. This image is an example of jewelry making in the Philippines. A large necklace of granulated interlocking beads Surigao Treasure, Surigao del Sur, Cerco 10th to 13th Century Ayala Museum Collection.